Hi, my name is Tina Vojzi. I'm the Education Manager for Tobii Dynavox in the UK and Ireland. And today I'm going to talk to you about Boardmaker 7 and how it can support communication, behavior, and participation. As a special educator, I started using Boardmaker over 25 years ago. It all began with the picture communication symbols. As you can see here, they were given to us in a binder format where we had to take the pictures and make photocopies of them. Then it was introduced to Boardmaker, where we had floppy disks that we would put into our computers in order to generate the symbols that we needed. Very excitingly, we saw Boardmaker move on to an interactive format with Speaking Dynamically Pro. And at the moment, we now have so many different forms of Boardmaker available to our customers. Boardmaker, Boardmaker Plus, Boardmaker SD Pro, Boardmaker Studio, and Boardmaker Online. But I'm really excited to tell you that going forward, we will be introducing Boardmaker 7, the only form of Boardmaker. Now, if you're new to Boardmaker, Boardmaker is a symbol-supported software which helps you to create resources in both print and interactive format. Within Boardmaker 7, you will find a huge library of templates to support you getting up and running very quickly. We also have a community of Boardmaker users all over the world who've shared their resources so that you don't have to start from scratch every time. We have an interactive element with Boardmaker 7, which will allow you to play resources that you've created with your learners when they're unable to interact with paper and pen. We also provide cloud storage with Boardmaker 7. So as you move around to different computers creating resources, your files stay with you. So let's take a closer look at this. There are various elements to Boardmaker 7. Boardmaker 7 is a symbol-supported software which will help you to create symbol-supported materials, both print and interactive. You're also able to find lots of resources to help you get started quickly, whether it be templates or a Boardmaker community with people all over the world sharing resources that they've created so you don't have to always start from scratch. You can play interactive resources in Boardmaker 7, so you can include users who are using alternate forms of access like eye gaze, switch, or mouse. We also offer cloud storage with Boardmaker 7, so your files and resources move around with you as you use Boardmaker on various computers. Now let's talk a little bit further about Boardmaker 7. It's a symbol-supported software that's available on Windows, Mac, and Chromebook. It comes with a library of over 50,000 PCS, and you can create print or interactive resources. You can create your resources from scratch, but you can also use our bank of templates. We have ready-made materials that you can pull from, as well as bring in materials that you may have created in older versions of Boardmaker. Now let's talk about how Boardmaker and the symbols we provide can support you with communication, behavior, and participation. Boardmaker, but even more so, the symbols that we provide within it, provide a recognizable starting point for learning language. They're a visual language that anyone, even those with low literacy skills, can use to convey information. So many of us are using emojis right now to let people know about ourselves and our thoughts and what we want to say. Now, you've never met me, but you can tell just by looking at these 4 emojis about my family life and about my interests. It's a universal language that conveys information very quickly, and it's very simply recognized. And we can create these types of resources in Boardmaker 7 within minutes. Here we see examples that range from a communication board used in a home to a playground out in a public space. The best thing about paper-based, symbol-supported communication resources is they can go anywhere with you. You can bring them to the beach, you can use them in your house, you can use them out in the community. We have people using Boardmaker and their symbols all over the world to support communication. Next, Boardmaker and the symbols can support behavior because they give us a recognizable starting point to follow directions, as so many of us are doing right now as we're out and about being reminded that we need to wash our hands. By having symbol support, it will increase my independence to be able to follow the steps by myself. It makes the expectations very clear what you want me to do when it goes to washing my hands. And it also gives me progress towards a goal. I know how many steps there's involved in washing my hands and how close I am to getting to the end of this process. And we can create these types of visuals and more using Boardmaker. Here we see examples of schedules, so this young man knows what he's going to do today, but also give him that support when he's washing his hands. It might help me when I'm playing a game and knowing when it's my turn, or even to talk about something very abstract like my feelings, which of course is going to impact my behavior. Lastly, let's talk about how Boardmaker and our symbols can support participation. They can support those who need it in understanding what's going on around them because it engages multisensory learning. I hear the word and I can see the word as well. It also will help me to independently understand what's going on around me. Here's an example of some COVID regulations being explained in Scotland. And as we can see on Facebook, this has had well over 800 shares, proving that it's supporting people all over that region to understand what's going on around them and participate in society. And here we can see some fantastic examples of learners participating in a classroom environment, engaging in resources at home, and being part of a social situation with the support of Boardmaker and symbols. Boardmaker symbols have been included in Google Action Blocks, a fantastic free app by Google, which helps learners to participate in using Google Assistant, which means when they're out and about, with a click of a button, they can get to information about when's the next bus coming, or directions on getting home, or having news read out to them, plus so much more. This is wonderful proof as to how symbols can really support participation, not just within AAC, but in all aspects of life. All right, now let's talk about PCS, or Picture Communication Symbols, the symbols that are at the heart of Boardmaker. Let's start with the classic symbols. They've been with Boardmaker from the very beginning. They're represented with eggheads, which are gender-neutral avatars that cover a wide range of topics, from activities of daily living to being in a classroom, learning about what's going on around us, and engaging in therapy sessions. We then have our thin line symbols, symbols that were designed in reaction to some of our older learners, letting us know that they thought that the eggheads were a little too cartoonish for them, and they wanted something that they felt was more age appropriate. We've recently looked at making sure that our thin line symbols represent a diverse population of people coming from many different types of ethnic backgrounds. We then have our high contrast symbols. These symbols were designed and developed to support learners who have a visual impairment. Therefore, they use a select group of colors that are meant to be displayed on a black background to support those who have a visual impairment in accessing them. Lastly, we have our in-context symbols, symbols that are very contextually rich, that can be used as a single meaning icon or as a visual scene. They were originally developed to support adults who've had a stroke or brain injury, but they can really be used by a wide range of learners who will be supported by contextually rich images. Okay, now let's take a look at how Boardmaker 7 is quick and flexible in allowing you to create symbol-supported resources. I start with a blank page, and I'm going to put a button of various shapes onto it. I can then spray to get multiple buttons. I click into a button, I type a word, And then I can choose any symbol that is presented. Some concepts will have many different symbols. Some will only have one. I simply pick from the symbol chooser and then it's put onto the page. I can then click into any of my buttons and choose the properties or otherwise what it looks like. So here I'm choosing a different type of placement for my symbols. I put them over to the left. I'm now looking at different colors for the background as well as the border. I can change the style of the border as well. Once this is all done, I can create this as a PDF and share it with any of my learners. You can also start by using a template. Absolutely the quickest way to get started. And we give you hundreds to choose from. Here we can see different types of concept maps in various different layouts. And I can put any information into it to reflect what I want to support somebody in understanding, communicating, or participating with. So here we'll see a template where I'm going to support somebody in discussing their feelings. This time I'm using our symbol finder. So I'm putting the main concept into the middle of the web. Now I'm going to search through all of the symbols in the category of feelings. This might inspire me to use different ideas, different feelings that I wouldn't have thought of if I had to conjure up those ideas as you saw me do before with edit in place. So you can see I'm just clicking and dragging these symbols in to support the learner in discussing feelings they may have. So we see afraid, ashamed, confused, exhausted, and I continue to scroll down, inspired by over 600 symbols all about feelings. If you're supporting learners who are unable to access paper and pen, well, then we can take these templates and turn them into an interactive resource where learners can use eye gaze, switch, mouse, or touch to interact with our symbol-supported materials. We also have a community of Boardmaker users from all over the world who are sharing resources that they've created to stop you from having to reinvent the wheel. You can very easily create a group specific to a topic, specific to a location, specific to the language that you're using. These groups can be open for anyone to join, or they can be made private, so only select people that are known to you can come into the group and share the resources that you've created. There are hundreds of groups and thousands of resources there ready for you to gain inspiration from. Have you created resources in Boardmaker 5, 6, Studio, or online? No problem. You can bring them right into Boardmaker 7, carry on editing, and print them. No work that you've created in Boardmaker will be lost. Okay, let me show you the Boardmaker 7 editor so I can show you just how easy it is to create a resource using a template. Okay, so I've opened up my Boardmaker 7 editor app, which I can install on any Windows, Mac, or Chromebook computer. The first thing it shows me is my most recently created resources. So I can quickly go in and edit anything that I might have been working on recently. I can also click here on my Boardmaker, and this is going to bring me to my cloud storage resources. So these are things that I might have created in my classroom, on my computer there, or at home. These resources will follow me around as I move from computer to computer where Boardmaker 7 is installed on. What I'd like to do now is start by creating a new resource. So I'm going to press on this new button here, and this is going to pop open my template finder. Here, first I'll be presented with my most recently used templates. I can then see all of the printable templates that are offered to me, and there are quite a few. I can see our subcategories that cover things from behavior all the way to writing. And when I click into any of them, I'll find thumbnails of the templates that fit this category. I'll have the same with interactive. So these are resources that work with eye gaze, switch, mouse, or touch. Today I'm going to start with an interactive template. So I'm going to go to a visual schedule because I would like to make a schedule that my students can follow in the classroom. So we're going to go to 5-step horizontal I'm going to click on that and then click on Create. So now I'm in my template and I see across the top my toolbar. These are things that are going to help me create things from scratch. So I'm not going to use that so much right now because I'm working with a template. I have a Pages panel on the left-hand side because I can create multi-page documents very quickly and easily. On the right-hand side, I have my Properties panel, which we'll use to get this template looking just the way we want to. So I'm going to start by clicking in the title and giving this a name, My School Day. I'm then going to click in the first cell and type a word. So the first thing we do is arrive. I press return on my keyboard and this initiates a symbol search. I can then choose the symbol that I think's right for my learner. So after we arrive, we need to hang our coat. Notice how it's automatically advanced to the next empty cell. After that, we're going to wash our hands. And again, I've got lots of different symbols to choose from, all those styles we discussed earlier. And then we're going to read the book Hungry Caterpillar. Now I'm finding symbols that have these words. You can see caterpillar, you can see hungry, but none of the book, The Hungry Caterpillar. So I'm going to click on this button, which is going to initiate an internet search. So now it's looking for images from the internet that are going to support Hungry Caterpillar. And there we see an image from the book. Lastly, I'm going to put in snack. Now, for snack, my student chooses from various snacks. So rather than using edit in place, this method where I've typed, press return to initiate a symbol finder, I'm going to go over here to the right-hand side, where I will find all of our symbols in folders based on category. So I'm going to go right here to the food and drink category. And if I scroll down a little bit further, I'll see snacks and sweets. So from this, I can be inspired as to the different types of snack my student might choose at snack time. So let's go down, and they're probably going to want to have some type of sweets, some kind of candy. So now I can drag and drop that to put it into place. You can see it changed the label to candy as well. So just by clicking into it, I can overwrite it for snack. Now, I want to change the appearance of this a little bit. I'd like my text to be a little bit bigger. I'd like to change the color that's supporting these buttons. So I'm just going to click to select them, and I'm going to use my Properties panel now. Here I can do a number of things to adjust the way these buttons look. First, with this button here, I can choose whether the text is above my symbol or below my symbol. I can choose whether I want symbol only or whether I'd prefer to have the symbol to the left or to the right of the word. I can also choose to have a label only if symbol support isn't needed for a specific learner. Once I have that looking the way I want, I can choose from a number of different types of font to support my symbol. I can also choose different sizes. Now, if I make my font bigger, my symbol is going to get smaller in order for all to fit in that size cell. So let me make that just a little bit smaller so it all fits here. I can choose lots of different things to format the way my font looks as well. I can choose different background colors. So maybe I want this on a background that's purple. I can also just choose one. So if I want to highlight something, bring extra attention to something that might be more important, I can just select one button and change that. I can also choose to change the border as well as the border thickness. I can even change the shape of the button. Once I have this looking the way I want, I can then choose to create this as a PDF if it's for a print resource. First, I just have to go in and save this. So let me just put in school day. And now it's saving my resource. And if I click on Create PDF, I will then get a PDF of this printed resource, which I can clip to an email and send home to my students, even if we're not in the same classroom, their parents, their carers around them can print this resource to use wherever they need. If I have a student who's unable to interact with a print-based resource, I can then click on the play button, and now we have this resource in an interactive format. Here you can see I'm using eye gaze.
Arrive.
When I look at one of the buttons, it reads it aloud to me.
Hangcoat.
When I've done the step, I can click on the box and it will give me a tick showing it's finished. I can always start over the next day when I have to go back through this routine. Now that I've showed you how to create something from a template, let me show you how to make something from scratch. So I'm back on my dashboard. I'm going to click on New again. And this time I'm going to go to blank. I can choose whether my printed resource is going to be viewed in portrait or landscape. So I'm going to choose landscape and then press create. Now I'm going to start by selecting a button and putting it onto my page, whatever size I like. I can then spray this button to make a grid of symbols. I can move this around onto my page however I like. So let me get this right into the middle. And now I can go ahead and use edit in place like you saw me do before to populate this board. What I'd like to do is make a board that we can laminate and take to the swimming pool, something I don't have to worry about getting wet or dirty. So let's start by typing the word swim. So now it's searching for the word swim, and you can see that it's searching for swim anywhere within our label. So we have 51 results. You'll see there's things like a one-piece swimsuit or a swimming pool. I can refine my search by clicking on begins with. So now it's looking for those 4 letters at the beginning of a label, and you can see my result has lessened. I can look for swim as a whole word. So now I again have refined my search even more so. Or I can look for swim at the end of a label, which there aren't any, so it remains the same. So I'll find the symbol I want and then I can press select. So now I can start to think about ideas that have to do with swimming. So I might want to blow bubbles. Again, press return. It's the quickest way to search. I might have to do a little bit of kicking. So I can search for kick and look for it in the right context. But I'm kind of starting to lose ideas. So I'm going to go back to my symbol search here, and I'm going to take a look through the categories. I can filter this out by typing in swim, and it will give me the categories that have swim as part of the category label. So I want to go through swimming actions. And here I can see a whole bunch of different ideas that I may never have thought of. A belly flop would be fun, and we can do a dive. So a great way to gain inspiration for our learners and come up with terms that they might want to communicate about, which we wouldn't have thought of. Once I get everything in, so just hold on a second, I'll quickly add a few more. I can go back to the next level. Let's put a few swimming items in here. Maybe I'll want some flippers and some goggles. And let's do water wings, one more. Now I can reorganize these very easily. If I choose to alphabetize them, because that makes it easier for me to model when we're communicating, I can select them and right-click and choose alphabetize. And now you can see all of those symbols that I put in are in alphabetical order. Or I might choose to shuffle them so that they're in a random order. Make sure that selections are intentional. I can then go back to my properties panel and adjust this as you saw me do earlier. So let's just change to the background to be something slightly different, as well as let's do a different type of font and a different type of font size. I can then use my pages panel on the left-hand side to duplicate this page. So now I have a duplicate. I can select them all. I can right-click. I can clear these contents. And now I can repeat the process, maybe for sensory play. And notice how my font and all my formatting has been carried over, and I can continue to put new information into this page. Again, remember, you can create as a PDF for easy sharing with the support network around your learner. I hope that tour of Boardmaker 7 Editor has helped you to understand how Boardmaker and our PCS symbols can support you and your learners with communication, behavior, and participation. If you'd like to learn more, please go to www.tobiidynavox.com/new-boardmaker for more information and training opportunities. Also make sure to visit our partners, Treta, for more information on Boardmaker 7. Thank you very much for your time and attention.